Hello everyone, it's the Canadian Wi-Fi here, and welcome back to episode 41 of the Road to 10,000. Today we're going to be doing something a little different, and to be completely honest, you might not have noticed if I didn't tell you. I'm actually going to be using the Wiimote D-pad in this episode. I'll get more into it in a race, because it's going to be difficult to explain, and it's getting kind of technical into the competitive aspect of Mario Kart 8. But somebody requested it. I figured I might as well try it out myself, because eventually if I want to get top tier at this game, I'm going to have to get used to it. And like I said, we're going to be searching for a lobby. We actually found one immediately. It doesn't look too bad. There seems to be quite a few people in it. Hopefully the rankings are up to snuff. Let's go with a Mario circuit. Now, in this game, I explained before, there's two types of control schemes. There's advantaged and non-advantaged. Non-advantaged are your pretty basic ones, such as using the gamepad that comes with Wii U, using a Pro controller, using a Wiimote plus nunchuck combination, etc. It's just basically using a stick controls, which feels a lot more natural to a lot of players. Then there's advantaged controls, which gives the player a traction advantage when they use said control scheme. These include tilting the gamepad back and forth, tilting a Wiimote back and forth, and they're called motion controls. Now, the way this game was coded, Nintendo just blanket gave the Wiimote the traction controls, aka the advantaged control scheme. So, in doing that, there's two ways to play with the Wiimote, which we will see when we get into this lobby, as we actually have, oh my lord, 36,000, not bad, good lobby. Hopefully we can get some points here. I don't actually know if I'm going to be able to, I don't know, we'll see when the race starts. So, like I said, you wouldn't notice anything different if I didn't mention it, but as you can see here, there's two ways to use the D-pad. You can use the control pad, or you can tilt it. What I'm doing right now is actually using the control pad, and because it's still technically on the Wiimote, it gets the traction advantage despite not having to learn how to tilt the remote back and forth. So the problem with this is that in time trials, it absolutely throws shit out of the water. People are no longer able to use their proper and practiced controller, because in order to actually compete in Mario Kart 8 now, you need to use an advantaged controller. It just saves too much time over the non-advantaged controllers. And that's just because of the traction bonus that it gets. You can feel it right away when you start driving with it. You take corners a lot tighter than you normally would, and just everything feels a little bit more responsive. The only problem is you're playing on a goddamn Wiimote pad, so it's not that fun, I suppose. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're used to playing on a Pro controller like I am, or just in general using stick controls, it feels really, really odd at first, and it takes a lot of getting used to. One of the main problems is the control scheme, which I'll get into later on in this episode. As it looks like we might actually still come first here. As unfortunately we're going to fall prey to the triple red shells plus blue shell combination, and it's going to land us in third place. Unfortunate, but there's nothing you can do. So as you can see in that race, like, it just, I don't know, it doesn't look too different. At a very high competitive level, it looks really different. Stick runs are really beautiful, and D-pad runs, you have you can do completely opposite inputs one frame apart. So Morton can look back and forth in 2 frames, and it looks really odd to just someone watching. Another problem is there's no actual brake button. This is getting into it. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit more of a technical episode, but the way you drive is, you think of a Wiimote. You hold down the 2 button. Hop and drift is the 1 button. Obviously the D-pad is what you use to drive, and B or A is your item. There is no brake. The brake is if you let go of 2, then 1 becomes a brake, which is really dumb, because in order to actually brake, you have to stop driving, which completely defeats the purpose of braking in the first place. So there's no, so if we get Rainbow Road here, you'll see right away, generally what I try to do on that track is brake drift. Obviously you need to on the first corner and the last corner. You can't do that with the D-pad, so it has a little bit of to it. Like, the D-pad will never be viable on Rainbow Road for that reason, but on every other track where you pretty much just hold down 2 and go, it is more viable just because of the added traction and handling it grants. The only problem that I personally have with it is it really, really hurts your right thumb, because your right thumb is not only always holding down the 2 button for the entire race, but it's also hopping. So you need to have like the base of your thumb holding down a button and the tip of your thumb pressing 1 over and over and over, and it just it's difficult. Speaking of, okay, so this is not my race. This is a front run track, and so far in this race, I've been hit by 2 shells from people who don't know what they're doing. So, but if you've ever seen me play this track before, you'll notice I never get that mini turbo that quickly. That's partly because soft drifting with this remote is easy as shit. The reason is because there's only 9 directions you can theoretically input on the Wiimote. You can go left, right, up, down, no input, and then you can do all the corners. So there's only... Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Life sucks! Oh my god. Okay, so this is gonna be one of those episodes, I can already tell. But yeah, soft drifting is really easy. He says as his 2 button stops getting held down. See, that's what happens if your thumb slips off the 2 button. You'll just stop. And like I said, it's just eh. Okay, yeah, throw your... This is awful. This might be the worst lobby I've been in yet in the series. And I'm not joking in that. I don't think a single person in this lobby knows how to play the game outside of the person with 36,000 VR, who arguably doesn't even know how to play the game, because this is, so far this episode has been below standard. But yeah, no, it's just, it's the only problems honestly I have with D-pad is, one, you shouldn't be forced to have to use it if you want to remain competitive. And the only other problem I have with it is that it really hurts your right thumb trying to hold down the button and press the button right adjacent over and over and over. But outside of that, I tried it a couple months ago for the first time when it got discovered, and I really hated it, and I just went right back to gamepad. But I tried it again last night because, like I said, somebody requested, hey, do you mind doing an episode if you're talking about it? I said, yeah, sure. I tried it last night, and I really like it, actually. It's really fun. Obviously, some potential problems that will creep up every once in a while is your Wiimote battery can die in the middle of a race. That will never happen with the other controllers that are plugged in. And if your thumb slips off the 2 button, which can happen quite often just because of the fact that the same finger is pressing a button and tapping a button, so, which is not the case when you're using the Pro controller. Anyway, this is the 3rd race. Welcome to Baby Park. Been here before. As I've burned out, I think, all 3 races. This is... Maybe that has something to do with my problems. Alright, hopefully I get someone with those random greens. And hopefully I can just pass people on the basis that I'm better than them at the game. There we go. That's all it takes. It's a little bit of actual driving. Oh man, this is so difficult. So as you like, if I never even mentioned the fact that I'm using a different controller, well, first off, you probably never would have assumed it's the Wiimote. If I told you to guess which new controller I'm using, but also you probably never would have assumed because it doesn't look that different. The only main difference, which I can show you just in a second here, once this ink actually removes from my screen, thank you kindly, is how Morton can look, as you can see there, the head tilts when you're turning. He can change directions at 1 frame intervals because, like I said, you're using a D-pad. There's 4 directions, and you can switch between them just by rocking your thumb. So you can make really minute and very, very quick adjustments to your heading, all in, like I said, 1 frame. So I can actually leave. I'll leave a video down below if you're more interested into this at all. It's only going to be about 1.5 minutes. It's a world record run. But it was using D-pad, and it really clearly illustrates what I'm talking about with the 1 frame, the character moving back and forth. It honestly looks like Morton is having a seizure in that video, so definitely worth a quick little watch if you're interested. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it and start talking about the races. I've pretty much covered D-pad, pretty much covered advantages in this game. I would honestly say the biggest problem with Mario Kart 8, you know how like Mario Kart Wii had cheaters, Mario Kart 7 was just a rushed game, it wasn't very fun, etc. Mario Kart Double Dash had no online, it only had 16 tracks. The main problem with Mario Kart 8 is the fact that there is an advantage, and it doesn't even affect casual play, because I would say that the D-pad is harder to use online. There's no braking, kind of affects that. But in time trials, it just gives such a huge advantage that there's no real reason not to use it. Anyways, you actually get a Hyrule circuit here to end off the video, which is going to be pretty interesting. Still got Oh My Lord from Stockholm County in Sweden. Doesn't seem too good at the game, but then again, points don't really mean too much, as you've seen so far in the series a few times. At least I get to relax, get to play some Hyrule Circuit real quick before we call her quits for the episode. As finger did not come off the 1 button there enough. Okay. I don't know how. I was about to say I don't know how I'm still in first. So the thing about the D-pad and where it gains, I guess I could quickly go over this and why it's better than the gamepad. It gains on every hop and every slide in Mario Kart 8, which, just imagine that for a second. If you're time trialing against a ghost, and every time they hop, they gain a bit of time. Could you imagine? It's just it's not very much time, but obviously it's Mario Kart 8. You hop and slide quite a bit, don't you? So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a fun control scheme, actually. The more you get used to it, the first time, if anyone's actually interested in trying it after watching this video, the first time you use it, it's going to be absolutely painful. It's going to feel like playing Mario Kart DS. But after you get used to it, it's actually pretty fun. I don't know if I'm going to use it as my main control scheme, or if I'm going to go back to the crazy expensive Pro controllers I bought. But this is pretty fun. It makes some soft drifts actually impossible, by the way, because some soft drifts on Mario Kart 8 you need the Pro controller for to get like a very, very specific angle, which obviously you cannot do on the D-pad because, like I mentioned, it only has 9 angles to input. But it makes just general soft drifting easier because the two main angles that you actually drive at are both soft drift angles. Like every time you turn, pretty much you'll be soft drifting. Anyway, this was a really technical episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Well, it's more technical than my normal episodes. Was fun though. Gained a ton of points because of this lobby. I think I'm gonna stick in it for another episode. I'm gonna record the next episode back to back with the same setup, with the same remote, with the same everything. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, feel free to check out the other episodes if you want more. And I hope to see you next time. Bye now.